It's 6:30 in all 10 regions of the country. You receive 6:30 greetings from my major prime studio. We are live from Fengodron Bange in Douala. My name is Gienda Peldrin Blanche King, and to begin the news this evening, we'll start with news from Pamo. Pamo now has a new management team. Solomon Tapiambile has been named the new general manager, while Asu Donatus is deputy general manager. This was made public recently during an extraordinary board meeting which took place in Limbe. Over to Kmer. Kmer Ezion Ndong Chamberlain was on the field yesterday. He led a team of officers to the Mabonji checkpoint yesterday to properly check on vehicles coming from Boya entering into Kumba. This, according to him, is to fight against insecurity and tighten road security along the Boya Kumba stretch of road. Details with Tamfu Sidwan Dembia in the following report.
On Tuesday, October 6, 2020, the Kmer Ezion Ndong Chamberlain decided to do the police work as he led a team to the Mabonji checkpoint at the entrance into Kumba from Buya Road. To the senior divisional officer, this is in the means to fight insecurity, especially at the time when most people believe that those coming into Kumba may carry along items that may be dangerous to human life. Ndong Chamberlain ordered for all car documents to be checked in order to ascertain how roadworthy those vehicles were. He also ordered for all luggages to be checked to be sure that drugs, bullets and other explosive devices are not carried into Kumba. Talking to the press, he says the forces of law and order are his collaborators, and coming to the checkpoint is also a form of encouragement for their hard work.
This exercise, I deem it necessary. First of all, come and encourage my collaborators who are permanently on the road for the security of the whole population. Myself, I decided to come with the forces of law and order, the areas to encourage them to check together. Because this is the resumption of school. If bad people are using that road to enter Kumba, it will be very, very difficult for us to secure the whole town.
He equally encouraged the population to work hand in gloves with the forces of law and order in order to stop insecurity in the division.
Let me congratulate them. I know that the task is not easy for them, but they are trying their best to secure the whole division. And I will continue to encourage them. Also, follow the whole population where they are doing their various activities. Continue to sensitize them that the security is not a matter of the force of law and order alone. All of us are concerned.
The SDO promised that his presence at all the checkpoints will be regular.
Schools have effectively opened their doors for a start of the 2020-2021 academic year. My major prime visited some schools in the littoral region to talk about how effective classes were on Monday, October 5, when classes resumed effectively. We also visited some campuses in Boya and Kumba in Kmer Division. Let's now go to Chief Town of Fako in Limbe to see updates on the school resumption.
Schools in Limbe effectively opened their doors for the new academic year on Monday, October 5th, but taking into consideration that Monday was celebrated as World Teachers' Day, the teaching and learning process was not effective as commemorative activities of World Teachers' Day was celebrated on the campuses of various schools. Despite a hitch-free resumption of the new school year, classes are yet to effectively kickstart as parents and students keep flooding the administrative block either for admission or to pay PTA levy. The school administration is equally facing pressure from successful candidates of public examinations who need their result slips to gain admission into lower seed or to apply to enter the university. The situation has been made worse with the number of internally displaced students seeking admission into schools in Limbe as the ongoing crisis caused them to flee to safer zones.
The 2020-2021 academic year, with all the damages that the COVID-19 caused to the intellectual education to the children. We know what parents went through. We know what pains we are going through. But notwithstanding the measures that the government and the World Health Organizations have put in place, we are implementing them for a COVID-free environment.
More also, parents and students are yet to get used to the two-shift system introduced this year as a measure to keep the new school year coronavirus-free.
This system will normally have some temporal challenges which we know will be handled in no distant time by the Ministry of Secondary Education. In terms of manpower, for sure there will be a shortage for the meantime, but we know that in the days ahead, where they'll be doing transfers of teachers, they are definitely going to send more staff to be able to take care of the many substreams that we have had as a result of the 50-50 division per class.
For the private and lay private institutions, the two-shift system can only be effective if they experience an increase in enrollment. The divisional officer for Limbe 1 subdivision, Acha Gilbert Quenti, accompanied by the mayor of Limbe 1, Mboye Eposi Florence, were on the field to evaluate the level of effectiveness of the new school year and to ensure that preventive measures prescribed by the Minister of Public Health and the Minister of Secondary Education are being respected within the school milieu.
We stay in Limbe, where we revisit the landslide which occurred yesterday precisely at Mile 2 Limbe, killing one and leaving another injured. According to our reporter in the following report, a building collapsed. Let's get the report.
Inhabitants of Mile 2 Limbe woke up on the dusk of Tuesday, October 6th, to discover a tragic incident in their neighborhood which led to the death of one person. In the early hours of Tuesday, at about 6 a.m., an embankment which was under construction collapsed and killed a 20-year-old boy by name Banky Leslie, a student of Gulffield University Institute, who recently gained admission into the University of Boya for the current academic year. He was on site with his elder sister, Manka Marichi, to assist the builder, who had not yet come to the construction site by the time of the incident. Eyewitnesses attribute the accident to poor construction of the embankment wall, as runoff could no longer meander its way to the gutters. Manka Marie is currently at the Limbe Regional Hospital responding to treatment. Despite responding to medical treatment, it took the intervention of the director of the regional hospital for the nurses as she was abandoned several hours after transferred to the accident ward.
Since 6 o'clock, we don't bring the 2 years, so to go come back with the other one. We see there, they don't tell we see the need for go scan, we don't go LG, we don't go to go come back. Since 6 o'clock, can't the moment we are standing up on our front, the talks for no person not able to take care of you. The next thing they will run by the car that is to put inside their cupboard. They go up, can that person know they. So now we don't be vexed and say, okay, we want to carry the patient, going for Mutengene, for bingo.
The divisional officer for Limbe 1 subdivision, Gilbert Quenti, accompanied by the mayor of Limbe 1, Mboye Eposi Florence, were on the scene to evaluate the level of damages caused by the incident. He also took time to condole with the deceased family while cautioning those constructing on risk zones that they are doing so at their detriment.
Day 3 of Back to School in Womb subdivision and Way in Fungom subdivision of the Northwest region. Learners and teachers say they are ready to brave the odds, though some administrators complain of inadequate facilities. The learning and teaching process is effectively ongoing. Let's now get to Charles Kebwa, who reports from Bamenda.
Day 3 Back to School in Menchum division of the Northwest region turned out in most schools visited in Womb subdivision and Way in Fungom subdivision, Menchum division of the Northwest. Both learners and teachers in schools are ready to deal with the school boycott operation that paralyzed education in Menchum and the Northwest region the past 4 years, with pupils and students looking forward to recover from the time lost.
And by nature of that, we have to kickstart things on the very first day. You know, here we blend theory with practice. So if we don't start early enough, we don't have time to catch up with what we put in place. I want to say that this year is going to be better than last year.
Ongoing disinfectant of some schools carried out by the district medical officer for the Womb District Hospital, Dr. Elome Ebaku, and team, including anti-coronavirus tests for teachers to ensure schools are free from COVID-19.
We have already done a mass screening of many persons in the home health district. Then with the teachers that have been coming from other areas to come here to Womb, we deemed it necessary because the Ministry of Public Health has asked us to do an extension of the treaties for us to continue doing the test, the screening and the tracking of all the cases that we have been recording. Then with the teaching field, which has already started, we are trying to see that we should have a COVID-free school environment for all the teachers and equally for the students.
The number of pupils and students compared to day one back to school has increased, and registration still progressive as school authorities envisage more pupils and students in the days ahead for the 2020-2021 school year. The threats passed by the coronavirus to school administration, the obligatory wearing of face masks and hand washing on campus to avoid the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, school authorities say they are aware of. Though some school administration in Menchum and the Northwest region complain of inadequate infrastructure, making the two system of classes teaching is said to be effective as more learners and teachers join the Back to School 2020-2021 train.
Thanks, Charles Kebwa. You're on to 6:30 Prime News on My Media Prime. Away from that, let's now visit other countries in Africa for news-making events. Gladys Bomotongina compiled the news stories in the French language.
Parlant de l'Éthiopie, Ethiopian Airlines, leader de l'aviation dans le continent africain, lance une nouvelle couverture d'assurance nommée Sheba Comfort. En effet, elle a pour objectif de prendre en charge les coûts médicaux, de rapatriement, d'évacuation et de mise en quarantaine des voyageurs diagnostiqués positifs au Covid-19. Elle s'élève donc à 5 millions de dollars par passager en cas de positivité. En Égypte, 59 sarcophages de bois comportant des momies datant de la 26e dynastie de Pharaons ayant régné il y a 25 années de cela ont été mis à jour hier. Il est reporté que certaines de ces momies sont encore en parfait état de conditionnement et selon les estimations, une multitude de sarcophages pourraient encore être exhumés sur le territoire de nécropole. En politique, le procureur de la République de Côte d'Ivoire relâchait hier une liste de 28 personnes à poursuivre contre un projet de déstabilisation du pays par le camp de Guillaume Soro. Une conversation entre celui-ci et certains de ses proches aurait été interceptée par le service de la direction de la surveillance du territoire d'IST. Selon cet enregistrement, une procédure portant réalisation de ce projet y est clairement élaborée.
On our health page, our health reporter Bukengo Kemya says this is Malnutrition Awareness Week observed yearly from October 5 to 9 with the aim of raising awareness regarding the condition and the negative effects on individuals and health costs. This year's campaign is commemorated under the theme Malnutrition Awareness to Action. Bukengo Kemya completes the story.
Malnutrition is the lack of or excess intake of energy and nutrients needed by the body. This condition is a universal health public problem affecting both children and adults.
Malnutrition is a situation that results from either excesses or imbalances or deficiencies in the way that we consume nutrients and energy. So in general, when you hear malnutrition, you think of just one type of malnutrition, which is that which results from deficiencies. So where there's stunting, there's wasting, which there's undernutrition, there's micronutrient imbalances. All of those results from when you're not taking in enough food. So in general, a food portion is supposed to have more of vitamins, minerals, proteins, less of carbohydrate, least of fats, and water is supposed to be a part of every meal.
With the most common form of the health condition being marasmus and kwashiorkor, the prevalence is relatively high.
Actually, with marasmus, you're not taking in enough protein, and with kwashiorkor, you're not taking in enough food in general, you're not taking in enough nutrients in general. But with marasmus, you may be eaten. So yeah, especially with parents who can afford, you could be giving your child food, but you're not giving them enough proteins, and they end up having marasmus, which is a form of undernutrition. And sometimes they could have marasmic kwashiorkor, which means that you're leaving out protein and you're leaving out every other nutrient in a way that is sufficient as well.
According to global statistics from the World Health Organization, 462 million adults are underweight as compared to a 1.9 billion adults being overweight. Meanwhile, in children under the ages of 5, 155 million of them are stunted and 52 million of them are wasted, with 17 million being severely wasted, and those with obesity are estimated to be about 41 million children worldwide. It should be noted that malnutrition is not just a health issue, as it greatly affects the global burden of malnutrition socially, economically, developmentally, as well as medically. To this regard, the United Nations General Assembly in 2016 announced the United Nations Decade of Action on Nutrition from 2016 to 2025 so as to help achieve 2030 Sustainable Development Goal 3, which aims to ensuring healthy living and promote well-being for all.
In sports, PWD Social Football Club of Bamenda have defeated the Black Queens of South Sudan by 3-0 in an international friendly match played at the Amadou Ahidjo Annex Stadium in Yaoundé. Midfielder Chindo John Bosco scored twice before the break, and the third goal was scored by a substitute, Vincent Pongondi. This is the first international victory for the Abakwa boys after playing a 0-0 tie against the Futuro Kings in Malabo. South Sudan, on their part, will have a daunting task on Saturday, October 10, when they challenge the Intermediate Lions of Cameroon at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium. And with that sport update, we end today's edition of Prime News on My Media Prime. Thanks for being a part. Join us tomorrow, Thursday, at 6:30 Cameroon time for another edition of Prime News on My Media Prime. Ewane Eli Nolinga produced the news, coordinated by Lasha Kingsley. My name is Genda Pelge Blanche King. Until we meet again tomorrow, stay tuned to My Media Prime at 7 p.m. Cameroon time. Kim Leonard will be live with Prime Art to discuss about issues affecting the world, Cameroon and Africa. Enjoy yourself in company of My Media Prime. Good night.